All right, we'll call to order the 1659th meeting of the Board of Trustees. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nikozison.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes. Get a motion to approve the journal of the preceding meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have no comments. So we'll start with the Audit Committee report. Trustee Watson, can you read that for us, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Audit Committee, May 3rd, 2022, Board of Trustees report. The Audit Committee met on May 3rd, 7:35 a.m. Meeting was attended by Trustees Watson, Evans, Burr, Nikozison, Wilson, and Trustee Wabi attending online.
Trustee Watson, do you have the May 5th report? Is that what you said?
It
Should be a May 31st report.
There's a typo. He's got the right report. There's just a typo.
I'm sorry about that, guys. The Audit Committee met on May 31st at 7:32 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Watson, Evans, Nikozison, Wabi, and Wilson. Chairperson Watson was called roll and had no introductory comments. Minutes of the May 3rd Audit Committee meeting were approved. Next, internal audit presented the risk assessment and internal audit plan for fiscal year 2023. The presentation included overviews of the risk assessment process, the overall internal audit cycle, and the various engagements to be performed as part of the FY 2023 audit plan. The presentation was also included a discussion of roles of the different audit teams that participated in the district's overall audit program. During the presentation, questions were addressed by internal audit as they were received from the committee. The next audit committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July the 5th, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at approximately 7:49 a.m. This concludes the audit committee report.
Thank you. Trustee Nikozison, can you read the Program Management Committee report, please?
Yes, I can. The Program Management Committee met on May 31st, 2022 at 7:50 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Nikozison, Evans, Wilson, Wabi, and Watson. I called roll and had no further comment. The minutes of the May 3rd, 2022 Program Management meeting were approved. The agenda items to be introduced tonight were presented and discussed, including a detailed discussion regarding the following items. Ordinance numbers 15932 through 15934. Staff provided details of 3 CSO volume reduction green infrastructure grants being awarded to reduce combined sewer overflows to the Mississippi River per the consent decree. Staff provided details of the grants being awarded to St. Louis University, UIC Homes, LLC, and Steel Coat Gratiot, LLC, for various volume reducing improvement. Ordinance number 15935. Staff discussed this unplanned supplemental funding appropriation for the Stanwood Drive and Bellwood Drive storm sewer project currently under construction. Additional funding is due to unanticipated rock excavation and associated site restoration encountered by the contractor and is necessary to complete the project. Ordinance number 15936. Staff provided bid and appropriation details for the Fenton Creek Pump Station Improvement Project. Staff explained specifics on the low bid received and construction impacts causing the project to be above the original budget. Ordinance number 15937. Staff discussed this planned supplemental appropriation for the Harlem-Baden Combined Sewer Relief Project being constructed in cooperation with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Staff explained the funding for the project. Staff then answered questions from Trustee Wabi regarding the overall purpose of the project and details of the combined sewer system. Ordinance number 15938. Staff gave an update on the status of easement acquisitions on 3 parcels of ground for the Florissant Dunn Sanitary Relief Project. Staff continues to negotiate with property owners, but has been unable to make contact or reach an agreement with the owners. Staff is requesting authorization from the board to move forward with the condemnation efforts to allow the project to remain on schedule. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for July 5th, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at 8:09 a.m. This concludes the Program Management Board Comments Report.
Thank you. Trustee Fair, can you read the Finance Committee report, please?
Certainly. The Finance Committee met on May 31st, 2022 at 8:11 a.m. The meeting was attended by Trustees Wilson, Evans, Watson, Nicholson, and Wabi. Chairperson Evans called roll and had no further comments. The minutes of the May 3rd, 2022 Finance Committee meeting were approved. The first item on the agenda was the quarterly pension review presented by Peter Lemick and Mike Comstock of Aon. Peter provided the performance update of the district's defined benefit, deferred compensation, and defined contribution plans for the first quarter of 2022 and year-to-date 2022. The defined benefit plan assets returned negative 5.1% in the first quarter, below the policy benchmark of negative 4.1%. Over the last 12 months, the plan returned 2.6% versus the policy benchmark return of 3.7%. Aon stated that it believes that the current policy allocation remains appropriate. Second item on the agenda was a review of the district's operating fund portfolio as of May 25th, 2022 by Secretary Treasurer Tim Snoke. Tim indicated that the portfolio is in compliance with the district's investment policy. The last item on the agenda was an update regarding the 2022 revenue bonds issued by Tim Snoke. Tim stated that the results of the bond issue fell within the parameters that were authorized by the Board of Trustees. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at 8:45 a.m. This concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. Trustee Wilson, can you read the Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting, please?
Certainly. Stakeholder Relations Committee met on May 31st, 2022 at 8:49 a.m. The meeting was attended by Chairperson Wilson, Trustees Evans, Nicholson, Wabi, and Watson. I call roll and had no further comments. The minutes of the May 3rd, 2022 Stakeholder Relations Committee meeting were approved. The agenda and discussion items were as follows. Resolution number 3757, Legislative Lobbying Services. This resolution authorized a renewal of the contract with Cardinal Point Partners, LLC for federal legislative services for the third of 4 option years. Resolution number 3753, General Legal Services. This resolution authorized the renewal of the contract with Armstrong Teasdale, LLP for general legal services for the third and fourth option years. Resolution number 3754, General Legal Services. This resolution authorizes a renewal of the contract with Reinerson, Thuss, Schnurbush, and Champion, LLC for general legal services for the third of 4 option years. The resolution number 3755, General Legal Services. This resolution authorizes a renewal of the contract with Thompson Coburn, LLP for general legal services for the third of 4 option years. Resolution number 3757, General Legal Services. This resolution authorizes a renewal of the contract with White Coleman and Associates, LLC for general legal services for the second of 3 option years. Rate Commission selection process discussion. The next rate proposal, including both a wastewater and stormwater proposal, is scheduled to be submitted to the Rate Commission by staff in February 2023. Brian Holscher gave a brief update to the trustees regarding the status of the current Rate Commission members and their service terms, MSD's process for selecting new members, and the guidelines outlined in the district's charter as to the board's participation requirements. Brian closed the discussion by advising the board of forthcoming notices to updating and refreshing of the committee and board meeting appointments on their calendars. There is no board action required at this time. The next committee meeting is tentatively scheduled for July 5th, 2022. The meeting was adjourned at 9:02 a.m. This concludes the Stakeholder Relations Committee Board Comments Report.
Thank you. Do we have a report of the Executive Director?
No, sir.
Any comments from the public?
We do have one comment from the public. This was an email that was received on June 2nd from a Dennis Liebman. And he writes, explain to me how a program gets approved to put a bill to zero, but then when the next bill came in, it is over $900. Can you explain it to me, or do I have to take action? Now, Marion and his staff have been trying to work with the customer to address his issue, and I think Marion wants to give a brief update.
Just real quick, the customer was applying for our customer assistance program. That program does provide a discount, but it's 50%. We do not set the bill to zero. We've been trying to contact the customer. We've left voice messages, several, and a couple of emails, and have not gotten a response. And we will follow up with the board when we're able to connect with the customer.
Thank you. Is that the only comment?
Yes, I'm sorry, that's the only public comment we have.
Thank you. We do have a report from the Finding of Fact Committee, which I'll read. At the Budget, User Charge, Capital Improvement, and Replacement and Tax Rate public hearing held on May 12, 2022, the Finding of Fact Committee consisting of Trustees Wilson, Fair, and myself were appointed to determine that the proposed taxes should be levied, assessed, and collected as recommended by staff. The committee members have reviewed the proposed tax rates and conclude that these tax rates are necessary to be levied, assessed, and collected in the amounts requested to meet the district's operating and capital requirements of both the district and the various sub-districts. Any communications?
There are no communications?
All right, we can go to the consent agenda.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. The consent agenda tonight is items 11 through 46. Is there any board member who would like to pull an item for a separate vote? Hearing none, is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
All right, we have no unfinished business, so we will move to new business. And as always, start with ordinances. The first one is item 47, which is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15932, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with St. Louis University for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure SLU Jesuit residence project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 48, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15933, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with UIC Homes LLC for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and the CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Vista Avenue lots project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 49, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15934, authorizing the district to enter into an agreement with Steel Coat Graciette LLC for cost sharing for green infrastructure construction and CSO volume reduction green infrastructure Grand Avenue mixed-use development project in the city of St. Louis. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 50 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15935, making a supplemental appropriation of $75,000 from the district-wide stormwater fund to be used for channel stabilization in the Stanwood Drive and Bellwood Drive storm sewer and bank stabilization project in the city of Normandy, and authorizing the district to appropriate additional funds to a contract with Above and Below Contracting. Your motion for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nikozison?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 51 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15936, making an appropriation of $1,575,000 from the sanitary replacement fund to be used for pump station improvements in the Fenton Creek Pump Station Project Improvements Project, unincorporated St. Louis County, and authorizing the district to enter into a contract with Cup Contracting. Your motion for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Wabi,
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison,
yes,
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Fair,
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 52, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15937, making a supplemental appropriation of $1,279,000 from the sanitary replacement fund to be used for sanitary sewer construction in the Harlem-Baden Relief Phase 4 project in the city of St. Louis and authorizing the district to appropriate additional funds to a contract with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
yes,
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 53, the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15938, declaring the necessity for the acquisition of easements and temporary easements and certain real property within the district for the purpose of construction of sewers and related appurtenances in the project known as Florissant Dunn Sanitary Relief in Florissant to serve the needs of residents of the area and authorizing staff to proceed with further condemnation efforts related to the project.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 54 is the introduction of proposed ordinance number 15939, making a supplemental appropriation of $15,000 from the Operation Maintenance Construction Improvement Fund of Graveway Creek to be used for design of storm sewers in the Graveway Creek OMCI Stormwater Design Project in various locations within the Graveway Creek watershed and authorizing the district to amend a contract with George Butler Associates. Your motion for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
yes,
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
That takes us to resolutions. Item 55 is the first one. It's the adoption of Resolution 3751, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Catherine J. Roth for her 28 years of exemplary service to the district from December 3rd, 1993 to her retirement effective June 1st, 2022. Your motion for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
yes,
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 56, the adoption of Resolution 3752, expressing the Board of Trustees' appreciation to Terry Jackson for his 29 years of exemplary service to the district from May 3rd, 1993 to his retirement effective June 1st, 2022. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Yes.
Mr. Wabi.
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison.
yes,
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Fair.
Yes.
Mr. Evans.
Yes.
Item 57 is the adoption of Resolution 3753 to exercise option year 3 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15188, adopted June 13, 2019. It authorized the district to enter into a contract with Armstrong Teasdale to provide general legal services for the district. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 58, the adoption of Resolution 3754 to exercise option year 3 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15190, adopted June 13, 2019, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with Rainierson, Seuss, Schnurbush, and Champion to provide general legal services for the district. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Yes.
Mr. Nicholasison?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 59, the adoption of Resolution 3755 to exercise option year 3 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15191, adopted June 13, 2019, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with Thompson Coburn to provide general legal services for the district. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Item 60, the adoption of Resolution 3756 to exercise option year 2 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance number 15568, adopted December 10th, 2020, that authorized the district to enter into a contract with White Coleman and Associates, again, to provide general legal services for the district. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
And item 61, the adoption of Resolution 3757 to exercise option year 3 of a contract previously authorized by Ordinance 15153, adopted May 9th, 2019, which authorized the district to enter into a contract with Cardinal Point Partners to provide federal legislative services for the district. Is there a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Watson?
Yes.
Mr. Wabi?
Aye.
Mr. Nicholasison?
yes,
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Fair?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
All right, before we adjourn, I want to tell you about 2 items we have proposed for introduction and adoption at next month's meeting. There are restatements for both the deferred compensation and the defined compensation plan for next month. We originally wanted to intro those in June and adopt in July. As I said, they're restatements just to make sure that the plans align with the most recent regulatory updates and also with IRS guidelines for tax exempt plans. We found a late update we wanted to add, so we're going to do this. And with that, I have no further business.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.